Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm Brian Wilson with the Star News. Thanks for coming to our Republican Party, Republican primary candidate forum. Thank you guys for coming. We flipped a coin prior to the start, and Jimmy won the coin toss. So we're going to start with a 2-minute introduction from each of the candidates. And then I have a list of prepared questions. Nobody has seen the questions other than me, so that's we'll start with Jimmy. So, if you want Jimmy boy, if you want to.
Thank you. I'd like to begin by listing a few of the accomplishments that I've made. An economic success. We passed multiple tax cuts resulting in $22 billion being returned to the taxpayers. Eliminated the statewide property tax. The Second Amendment, passed concealed carry. I was lead author on that. I gave my maiden speech on that one. Eliminated the 48-hour waiting period to purchase a firearm. Pro-life, passed a 20-week abortion bill ban. Passed defunded Planned Parenthood, required an ultrasound 24 hours prior to an abortion, prohibited taxpayer dollars to fund effective abortions under the state health plans, prohibited abortion coverage on federal exchange plans, and a lot of these, if I wasn't the lead author on it, I was the first signature on it. Welfare reform, required drug screening for Medicaid recipients, required child support compliance for food stamps and Medicare, required a photo ID on food share, required assist restrictions for food share, expanded statewide school choice, required civics tests to graduate from high school. That was one of my bills. Froze tuition at UW Systems. I voted for that one also. I voted for all these. Passed campus free speech to protect the conservatives, remove tenure from the state statute, constitutional amendments to circumvent Governor Evers, institute bail reform, prohibit illegal aliens from voting, prohibit Zuckerbucks. This is the stuff that he vetoed. Election bills, required secure delivery of absentee ballots. He vetoed it. Prohibit ballot harvesting. He vetoed it. Enhance absentee voting restrictions in nursing homes and residential care. Vetoed. Required more access and transparency for election observers. We dumped a pile of money into broadband. Guess what happened to that? Vetoed. So it looks like I'm not doing a damn thing. But require work searches to receive unemployment. Declared Wisconsin a Second Amendment sanctuary state. I'm on that one. I may have even led the lead on that one.
Okay, Jimmy boy.
Okay.
Thumbs up. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Mike Bob. I'm running for the 87th Assembly. I bring 23 years of local government experience. That's why I'm running. I've campaigned all 4 counties that make up the 87th district. And I ask people one question. Do you think our government's a little broken? Almost always the answer is, a little? They believe it's a lot broken. You know, I get frustrated because I look at things like, in 2015, the Republicans passed the Wisconsin Election Commission. Ever since then, our elections have been pretty much, nobody's happy on either side. We created a commission of 3 Democrats and 3 Republicans. I do not understand why the majority party gave half the power to the Democrats. You think Nancy Pelosi would get half the power to the Republicans? You think Tony Evers would get half the power to the Republicans? No. But the Republicans did that. My opponent voted for the Wisconsin Election Commission. You talk about broadband. Yeah, a whole lot of money. But it got vetoed. You see, I understand why the Republicans, they have a whole bunch of bills they passed that I would call a showboat. They passed them knowing they would be vetoed. You know, the first 4 years, Jimmy served with a Republican governor. They could have passed those bills then. They didn't. So, you know, it's time to get things done. Rural Wisconsin needs broadband horribly. It's very hard to get it up here because they don't want, the big companies want 40 customers per mile. We found a solution here in Taylor County. I would propose in the next state budget that 30% of all broadband grants should go to counties of less than 40,000 people in population, so that they truly, rural Wisconsin, would get broadband. I look for new solutions to old problems. We've had the same government for a long time. We got the same solutions, the same failed problems. Our schools are going backwards, not forward. It's time for a change. That's why I'm running for state assembly on August 9th.
Okay, thank you. And the first, because Jimmy Boy started with the things, first question we go to Mike, and then you'll get a couple minutes to respond, a couple minutes to answer the question, and then Jimmy Boy will get a chance to answer the question.
Sounds good.
Okay, so record. Okay, Wisconsin's rural areas are rapidly aging, and employers are struggling to fill positions. Many rural areas have seen a population decline in recent decades. What can the state do to encourage young families to choose to live and work in rural areas such as Taylor County?
It's a great question. And being on the Medford City Council, I think that we're doing some of those very things. 6 years ago, I talked about that we had to start getting affordable housing. We are now building, we have 3 housing projects going on in the city of Medford. Within the next probably 18 months, we're going to have 160 either new apartments, townhouses, or single-family homes that are being built. A lot of these are being built, some are through a TIF district, some is through some federal grant money. But the key is that we talk to our corporations, and they told us, we need housing. People apply for jobs. We had a lady who applied for a job, got the job, spent 2 weeks living in a tent down in the campground in the city park. After 2 weeks of not finding a place to live, she had to leave. We need to provide housing. If I talk to people in Ladysmith, I talk to people in Haywood, I talk to people in Marathon County, it's the same thing. We gotta find ways to provide affordable housing. The other thing is, and the right, wrong, or indifferent, the younger generation lives on the internet. The internet to them is what electricity was to when I was younger. You wouldn't have a house without electricity. Now we have broadband. People have talked about it for 8 years. We started a project here in Taylor County, and we talked to 5 different counties in 5 different states. And rural communities are tough. Charter, TDS, AT&T, they want 40 customers per mile. You drive between Medford and Gilman, there's not 40 customers per mile. You get 2 miles outside of Ladysmith, you get 2 miles outside of Hayward, there's not 40 customers per mile. Maybe around the lake or resort they might get broadband. We found a solution, a combination of fixed wireless so that we can broadcast to the remote areas and fiber to the home. And not only are we doing the project, we about $9.5 million. We're leasing fiber to get the taxpayers the money back, and we already have somebody who wants to buy a $9 million fiber network for $11 million. How often do you hear of a government project that's going to make the county taxpayers, we're going to have a broadband network, everybody will have internet access for $50 a month if they choose to sign up, and the county will make $2 million profit. That don't happen very often in government. We did it here in Taylor County. I want to take the same philosophy of finding new solutions to old problems to Madison.
Okay. Jimmy Boy, that same question to you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, for your affordable housing, what is expensive on building homes is not necessarily the material. What's expensive on building a home and building what you want to do here is the rules and regulations that the county has accepted to begin with and brought all that stuff on. I don't know if you can even today build your own home without having a approved plan and, you know, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And it's unbelievable. I mean, but that's probably the biggest reason why you have a hard time, even coming up with housing. I talked to one of your county board members about this. I mean, some duplex or something you're trying to redo, but they could build 5 houses for what they're gonna put in that one duplex. And as far as your broadband, see how it comes. You're guaranteeing $50 a month 4 years from now. And I don't know of anything that's gonna be $50 a month 4 years from now, regardless what it is. But I think what you're gonna see happening is you got Starlink, old Elon Musk. I mean, he's got this thing put together, and sure, it might be $110 a month now, but as time goes on, it will go down. And you'll have, and if you have his apparatus that he goes with it, that's what, I don't know, $500-600, you can be out in the middle of the Chequamegon National Forest, hook some juice to it out of a battery, you got internet. You have to, and where's your housing gonna expand to 10 years from now? You have no idea. I have no idea. But Elon Musk will take care of that. And you still have to do some of this stuff yourself.
Okay. Okay, would you support changes in the revenue cap formula for schools, counties, and municipalities to take into account inflationary and competitive pressures? Currently, the law allows for growth as the driving. And the first one is to Jimmy in this
Well,
one.
I thought one to him. But would I change the revenue caps?
Yes.
Well, I think the revenue caps are gonna take care of themselves, because what's happening is a lot of the stuff that the schools are teaching, and I don't know if you've got it down here or not, but we've got it pretty close to Russ County. In schools, kids can meow and they can bark. They want sandboxes in the restrooms so they can go to the bathroom in there. Today, if you wanna feel like a woman, you can be a woman. You can feel like a man if you wanna be a man. And people are getting fed up with it. And my cure to that is, you teach these kids what we want you to teach. They don't teach arithmetic, they don't teach writing. I mean, it's just, but teach them what they need to know. Don't try to influence them with, I heard that one of the schools sent out a questionnaire to 6th to 12th grade. And are you a guy or a gal? Or do you, are you a lesbian? Are you a transvestite? Have you had a sex change? The 6th grade kids, come on. And then you wonder why people are gonna pull out of this. If they don't start changing their ways, that's gonna self-destruct. And I mean, I got the bill passed for the kids have to pass the citizenship test, because it's something they have to know. I just got lambasted from the teachers, because that's not important. It's not important. But I got it passed, and now to graduate from high school, they have to pass a 100-question citizenship test. And questions like, how many stars are on a flag today? 50. How many stripes are on a flag? 13. What do they stand for? What body of water is to the west of us? Huge body of water. Which one is it to the east? Huge body of water. Stuff that they should know. And they're teaching that now. But there's a lot of this stuff that goes way, way so far out you can't even see it. And if they keep this pushing on this stuff, you're gonna see public schools in a lot of serious trouble, because there are a lot of people are pulling back on this.
Mr. Bob?
Hey, I think the question was about the shared revenue and how that works in the state of Wisconsin, and would I support changes to it? Yes. The shared revenue formula in the state of Wisconsin is almost 40 years old. The problem is with our revenue caps, which I support, because I think some of the areas when the local governments were increasing local property taxes at too high of a rate. But I do think we have to adjust the revenue cap, because counties, townships, and villages that have not had the growth that others have fallen behind. They can't fix their roads, they can't fix their wastewater utilities. So the shared revenue cap needs to be revised. It needs to be looked at as to how do we support our rural communities that don't have the growth of some larger areas. You know, Jimmy talked about the schools and all that, and I understand that there's a lot of frustration was being taught in the schools, but the question about should we revise the state formula? Absolutely. After 40 years, times have changed. Now, would I raise the caps? Not at this time. I think the state has a surplus. There's ways that we could use that surplus to help with the revenue sharing, but, so I wouldn't raise the caps at this time.
Okay. Okay, this, the question, Mike will answer the first one on this one. There have been calls to make first offense, operating while intoxicated a criminal rather than a civil offense. Would you support this change? Why or why not?
I would not make it a criminal offense. I think, unfortunately, people make mistakes and they deserve second chances. But I do serve on Taylor County Human Services Board, and I will tell you that we are having a serious issues with drugs and alcohol and with people with mental health. The one thing that I would make mandatory, that I think we need to have more stringent counseling if a person is caught drunk driving, if they're caught drunk, driving while high, helping people to make sure it doesn't become a long-term addiction, helping people so that they, can make the changes that they need to make in their life is critical. One of the things about human services is that I sit there and we get a court-ordered case because a person with their fifth drunk driving, the judge sends them to a rehab center. You know who pays for that rehab center visit? The taxpayers of Taylor County, the taxpayers of Sawyer County, Russ County, Marathon County. Some of those facilities cost $1,000 an hour. So if we can do a better job of stopping addictions, stopping repeat offenders, not only can we help save lives, help people become more productive in society, we also can save our taxpayers a lot of money. We had one person in a court-ordered facility cost the taxpayers $380,000 last year. One person. If we could have corrected that issue by better counseling up front, just think of the money we could have saved for Taylor County, and we could have helped that person avoid a long-term life of addiction.
Thank you, Jimmy Boy.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with giving an easier rap on the first time. But when you get to be a repeat offender, I don't care what it is. If it's sex offending or drunk driving or drugs or stealing or whatever, these folks are not put in jail because they sing too loud in church. And people have to start being responsible for their own actions. And instead, if it feels good, then well, that's going to be okay. And everything is on feelings now. And oh, they put this guy in jail. Oh, the poor guy, I feel so sorry for him. No. If he did wrong, if you do a crime, you do the time. But I think anybody can go to a party and have too much or whatever, but drugs, that's a different ballgame. I have no time, no time in my head to let them off and continue doing the wrong stuff.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the question, Mike will answer the first one on this one. There have been calls to make first offense, operating while intoxicated a criminal rather than a civil offense. Would you support this change? Why or why not?
I would not make it a criminal offense. I think, unfortunately, people make mistakes and they deserve second chances. But I do serve on Taylor County Human Services Board, and I will tell you that we are having a serious issues with drugs and alcohol and with people with mental health. The one thing that I would make mandatory, that I think we need to have more stringent counseling if a person is caught drunk driving, if they're caught drunk, driving while high. Helping people to make sure it doesn't become a long-term addiction, helping people so that they, can make the changes that they need to make in their life is critical. One of the things about human services is that I sit there and we get a court-ordered case because a person with their 5th drunk driving, the judge sends them to a rehab center. You know who pays for that rehab center visit? The taxpayers of Taylor County, the taxpayers of Sawyer County, Russ County, Marathon County. Some of those facilities cost $1,000 an hour. So if we can do a better job of stopping addictions, stopping repeat offenders, not only can we help save lives, help people become more productive in society, we also can save our taxpayers a lot of money. We had one person in a court-ordered facility cost the taxpayers $380,000 last year. One person. If we could have corrected that issue by better counseling up front, just think of the money we could have saved for Taylor County, and we could have helped that person avoid a long-term life of addiction.
Thank you, Jimmy Boy.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with giving an easier rap on the first time. But when you get to be a repeat offender, I don't care what it is. If it's sex offending or drunk driving or drugs or stealing or whatever, these folks are not put in jail because they sing too loud in church. And people have to start being responsible for their own actions. And instead of, if it feels good, then well, that's going to be okay. And everything is on feelings now. And oh, they put this guy in jail. Oh, the poor guy, I feel so sorry for him. No. If he did wrong, if you do a crime, you do the time. But I think anybody can go to a party and have too much or whatever, but drugs, that's a different ballgame. I have no time, no time in my head to let them off and continue doing the wrong stuff.
Okay, thank you. Okay, our last question for the Assembly candidates will be, let's start with Jimmy Boy on this one, I believe. According to the Kaiser Family Foundation, miscarriages occur in 10 to 15% of all known pregnancies within the first 20 weeks, and ectopic pregnancies occur about 1 out of every 100 pregnancies. Would you support legislation to guarantee that women will have access to medical attention for miscarriages and ectopic pregnancy without them or their medical providers facing prosecution?
I believe we already have that. What this, I'm pro-life, I don't care who knows it. This idea of people getting pregnant and using Planned Parenthood as a way of getting rid of the kid, that's not what it was for. But I don't think any woman should be refused if she has trouble with her pregnancy and she needs help, absolutely. But if she's going to go there to have an abortion, I don't want nothing to do with it. But I don't personally know any young girls that have done this. But my niece was telling me from Hawaii, there were girls in her class that have had a half a dozen abortions. It's just a way of birth control. And that's not right. That's not right. And you have people that want to adopt kids and can't get them. They have to go to Korea or China or Japan to get one. And Governor Evers even vetoed the bill. We required medical providers to provide emergency care if when a baby is born alive. So if it's born alive on a botched up abortion, you can still kill it. Now that's murder. I mean, what the hell kind of a sick society are we turning into?
Mike?
Absolutely, yes. If a woman needs help because he's having a miscarriage, we need to be there for them. You know, it's just, you know, but here's one area that I think Jimmy and I are in step together, is that I am pro-life. I am pro-life for various reasons. One is, you know, my wife is adopted. She, you know, some young lady decided to give birth to this baby. Her adoptive parents, Barbara and Richard Wacorn, raised her. I met her at UW La Crosse. She's been my wife for 42 years. We got 3 kids, now 5 grandkids. We just had our 5th we didn't have it. My daughter-in-law had it. Ooh,
Tried.
A week ago Friday, you know, I can't understand why somebody would want to kill a baby. My mind doesn't go there. So I think we need to help women. I think we need to help women understand to make a choice. So if they don't want to get pregnant, that they don't get pregnant. You know, that the choice should happen before the pregnancy, not after the pregnancy. You know, we need to help educate people, and then we also need to stand with them. And I think another thing that's critical, and this is why I love and I support the local abiding care program here. I've raised money for them. I help with projects there, is we talk people out of abortions, but then what? They have the baby. We darn well better be there for them, you know? Cardinal Dolan from New York City has talked to the people in all of his diocese about, okay, the young lady had the baby, now what? Are you gonna be there to help them for the first 3 months, the next 6 months, and the 1 year? You know, if you're pro-life, I think you have to be pro-life beyond birth. And we gotta be there to help these people, you know, because sometimes life threw them a curveball, so let's help them all the way through.
Okay.